In the opening scene, we see a secret government lab in Korea. Scientists are doing experiments on dogs that might not be morally right. They want to use these dogs for military purposes. This project is called Project Silence. Meanwhile, at the Department of Security, Secretary Jung Hyun-baek expresses his gratitude to Cha Jung-won for his support during the campaign by providing him with extra money. Afterward, at home, Jung-won watches his daughter Kyung-min get ready to go study abroad. Among her belongings, Kyung-min packs a book that used to belong to her late mother. So Jung-won scolds her, worried about the extra weight. Upset, Kyung-min argues that it's the last copy of the book and then goes to her room. After that, Jung-won takes Kyung-min to the airport. On the way, they stop at a gas station to refill gas in car, and Jung-won tries to pay with his card. But Joe Park, the attendant, says the card reader isn't working and asks for cash. Just then, Jung-won notices Joe Park has a master key and accuses him of pretending to be a clerk while actually being a tow truck driver. Joe Park acts innocent, so Jung-won leaves without paying, promising to bring the cash to the owner later. Meanwhile, at the airport, Sim Mi-ran and Sim Yu-ra can't get on their flight because Yu-ra forgot to renew her passport. Yu-ra is upset and blames Mi-ran, who is her manager, for not reminding her. Because of this mistake, Yu-ra will miss her golf tournament. Just then, Soon-ok comes up to them and thinks Yu-ra is her cousin by mistake. Soon-ok's husband, Byung-hak, comes after, which surprises her. Confused, she tries to cross the street and almost gets hit by a car. The others quickly pull her back to safety. Byung-hak then tells her that he is her husband. He tells the girls that Soon-ok has memory problems. A few minutes later, we see all these peoples on a foggy bridge just outside the city. While most drivers are being careful, but one man in a yellow car is driving dangerously and filming it for social media. There's also a strange vehicle with a cage that's driving unpredictably, making Jung-won swerve to avoid hitting it. As the car passes by, Kyung-min notices a sorrowful-looking dog in the window. In a different car, Dr. Yang is being taken to a lab by two soldiers, and then the yellow car speeds up dangerously and almost crashes into another car, making that driver stop suddenly and block part of the road. This situation forces the bus carrying Byung-hak and Soon-ok to stop suddenly to avoid hitting a fence. Unfortunately, other drivers aren't so lucky. One car crashes into the yellow car, causing a series of crashes that involve almost every car on the bridge. Despite trying to steer or stop, many drivers can't avoid the crashes and have to leave their cars to stay safe. Soon after, a police car arrives in the opposite lane, only to collide with a crane. Meanwhile, at the gas station, Joe Park is getting scolded by the owner for losing money. Just then, they hear a news on radio about a bridge accident, and Joe Park thinks Jung-won might be stuck there. Wanting to help, Joe Park leaves in his truck with his dog, Jody, to find him. Meanwhile, on the bridge, Jung-won and Kyung-min are driving in the opposite lane and witness the terrifying accident. A vehicle with a cage gets through safely, but Dr. Yang's car hits debris, causing a tire to get stuck. This makes the car lose control, crash, and flip over. A tire comes off and hits Jung-won's car, making it crash into the fence. At the same time, a vehicle with soldiers crashes into the overturned truck, while the car with the cage stops just in time. The driver of the cage car checks the cage to make sure everything inside is safe. Kyung-min thinks they should help the people in the accident, but Jung-won tells her to stay in the car while he checks things out. The soldiers have already saved Dr. Yang, who keeps talking about some dogs. While Jung-won stays with Dr. Yang, the soldiers check the cage and find it open and empty, except for the driver's body at the back. So the Captain Kang quickly orders to block all cell phone signals on the bridge. On the other hand, Jung-won takes Dr. Yang to his car and tries to use his phone to call for help, but he can't get a signal. Then he notices that Kyung-min is missing. Meanwhile, Kyung-min hears a strange noise and finds a big dog named E9 hitting its head against the fence. She tries to calm the dog by giving it food, but Jung-won arrives to protect her, and the dog runs away. Afterward, the soldiers tell Dr. Yang that the dogs have escaped, so they need to start the control program. Dr. Yang begins the program on his laptop. The soldiers also mention that a helicopter is coming, which Jung-won hears. Worried about flying in the fog, Jung-won says he works for the Department of Security and asks about the phone signal problem. The soldiers ignore his concerns and tell him to stay out of it. When Jong-won argues and tries to grab a radio, the soldiers handcuff him to the steering wheel. Just then, Joe Park arrives in his truck and notices the police officer, who is asking for help. So Joe Park decides to make some money by towing the officer's car first. Meanwhile, in the car, Dr. Yang completes the activation of the program, which shows a list of dogs. The soldiers don additional protective gear as the dogs suddenly return. Each dog has a chip in its head that Dr. Yang's program controls, making them act violently. The dogs move very fast, jumping onto the soldiers, who try to stop them with stun batons. Dr. Yang notices that E9 isn't moving, but he doesn't know why. After a long fight, they jump into the cage, tricking the dogs to follow them and trapping the dogs inside. As Dr. Yang turns off the program to calm the dogs, an helicopter arrives and soldiers come down onto the bridge. Jody, seeing the activity, runs towards the soldiers, and Joe Park runs after Jody, but the soldiers catch him. Meanwhile, Jung-won wants answers and asks Yang, who tells him to ask his boss about Project Silence before joining the soldiers. The dogs are moved into a new cage under Yang's watch, but he gets distracted by Jody's barking. Joe Park tries to get to Jody, but the soldiers push him back. Suddenly, Kyung-min shows up to get Jody, and a soldier tries to stop her, but Jong-won steps in to protect his daughter. At that moment, a soldier finds a chip on the ground and realizes E9 knocked it off by hitting her head. Soon, the helicopter starts lifting the cage with the dogs, and the man on board is shocked to see E9 on top of it. E9 attacks the soldier, causing the cage to fall. The co-pilot tries to shoot E9, but she's too fast and kills him before attacking the pilot too. As the helicopter hits the bridge cables, E9 jumps out just before it crashes. The helicopter catches fire, spins around, and gets stuck in the cables, making a loud noise that upsets the dogs. The dogs go wild, break out of the cage, and start destroying cars and attacking people, killing anyone they see. As the crowd panics and runs away, a dog attacks Dr. Yang. To distract it, Yang throws his laptop at the dog. The dog bites his pants and drags him towards the fence. Jung-won arrives just in time to save Yang from the dog. A soldier comes and starts electrocuting the dog, but another dog jumps and kills the soldier. With another dog coming, Jung-won quickly escapes with Kyung-min, Joe Park, and Jody. Meanwhile, Yura tries to reach Miran, who is stuck in the crowd. When a dog tries to attack her, Yura grabs a golf stick, hits the dog with the golf stick, and then runs away with it. Joe Park tries to get into his truck but finds a dog inside, so he runs away. While Jung-won finds a working car, and Dr. Yang and Kyung-min join him, although Jung-won doesn't want to stop for Joe Park and Jody at first, but his daughter insists. So Joe Park and Jody get into the car back compartment just before the dog reaches them. While other survivors rush to a bus for safety, Jung-won's group moves forward and sees the helicopter tangled on the bridge and explode. The debris falls, landing in the middle of the bridge and causing flames from the truck's leaked gas, blocking the exit. The fire causes another car to explode, sending debris flying and breaking the window of Jung-won's car. Just then, he loses control, tries to avoid the flames, but crashes into the fence. Meanwhile, Hyun-baek is trying to organize a rescue, but the thick fog stops helicopters from flying, and the bridge is too high for ships to reach. Still, he tells reporters that they are using all available resources for the rescue. On the other hand, Jung-won takes Dr. Yang's radio and tries to call for help, but no one answers. But another dog jumps onto the car, sniffs the glass for a bit, then leaves. Then Dr. Yang explains that he originally created these dogs to be rescue animals that respond to human voices. However, the military turned them into hunting dogs after being asked by the United States and European countries to make dogs that could find and kill terrorists. The dogs were trained to recognize their target's voice, but the project failed, making the dogs very violent. And they were on the bridge because the military was trying to get rid of these failed specimens. After another try, Jung-won uses the radio to contact Hyun-baek, who tells them to move to the middle of the bridge because of toxic gas from the truck's fire. Then Jung-won tells Hyun-baek about Project Silence and its link to the current minister, saying he has enough proof to expose him. But Hyun-baek reveals that the project also involves their own department. At that moment, some dogs gather around the car. Suddenly, another explosion happens, making the flames bigger and scaring the dogs away. Smoke gets inside the car. Fortunately, a bus arrives to help. The group covers their faces and runs to join the other survivors. As the bridge begins to collapse, the bus quickly reverses just as the helicopter crashes, causing a huge explosion. The fire and shockwave break the bridge's supports, making the middle part collapse. Many cars fall into the sea, but the bus escapes just in time. After the situation has stabilized, Jung-won introduces himself and explains to the survivors that the authorities are delayed due to the fog, but reassures them that rescue efforts are underway. He makes up a story, saying the phone lines are down due to the explosion and that the dogs are army dogs suffering with rabies. Although the survivors are doubtful at first, but Joe Park backs up Jung-won's story, convincing everyone. Later, Joe Park finds a bottle of alcohol and secretly takes it. He then asks to talk privately with Jung-won and demands the gas money. Jung-won surprises him by offering a big reward and a medal to keep quiet. A few minutes later, a SWAT team arrives on the bridge and heads straight to the bus to help evacuate people. The survivor tells them that there are dangerous dogs around, but the SWAT team says they haven't seen any dogs. So Jung-won calls Hyun-baek to warn about the possible danger, but Hyun-baek assures her that the soldiers will keep them safe. As the group starts crossing the bridge, they notice the numerous bodies scattered on the ground. Dr. Yang spots a dog running between the cars and steps back, accidentally setting off a car alarm. To their surprise, more alarms start blaring around them. The soldiers move forward to check it out, but then the dogs, who had been setting off the alarms on purpose, ambush them. The dogs are very clever. When they attack the soldiers, they target the guns first, making the soldiers shoot wildly and accidentally injure some people. As a result, Miran gets shot in the leg, so Yura quickly moves between her and the dogs, using something as a shield to protect her. As the soldiers are killed one by one, Sunoke becomes disoriented and tries to pet a dog. The dog responds aggressively, throwing her to the ground and injuring her, but a gunshot scares the dog away. Suddenly, Jung-won is attacked by a dog and holds it back while seeing Joe Park hiding under a car, while Jody starts barking to distract the dog, allowing Joe Park to escape with her. And Jung-won rushes to help his daughter, Kyung-min, who is trying to get her bag back from a dog. Jung-won tells her to drop the bag, but she refuses because it has her mom's book. Jung-won pulls her away, and as the dog tries to follow, a soldier shoots it, but another dog quickly kills the soldier. Afterward, Jung-won and Kyung-min quickly go back to the bus and hide in the luggage compartment. There, Jung-won realizes he dropped his radio, so he goes out again to get it. He also grabs his daughter's bag and a flare gun. While they wait, Kyung-min watches a video of her mother reading the book to her in the hospital and misses her father's comforting smile. Then Yang interrupts her and opens a hatch, leading them into the main part of the bus. Yang then explains that E9 is the original dog, while all the others are her clones. E9 sees them as her children and had to watch humans kill her puppies during the experiments. Yang clarifies that her current actions are not driven by a desire to hunt, but rather by a quest for revenge. Meanwhile, Jung-won finds the remaining survivors hiding inside a fallen truck. Only Joe Park, Jody, Miran, and Yura, and the elderly couple are left. And Joe Park admits he told them the truth about the dogs. Jung-won ignites several torches using a flare and fires another flare into the sky before contacting Hyun-baek, who observes the flare on the security cameras. Jung-won says they plan to escape using the bus and asks for snipers to shoot the dogs, but Hyun-baek refuses, worried that reporters will film it, and tells Jung-won that a SWAT team is at the bridge break. A desperate Jung-won tells Hyun-baek that the survivors know everything, so Hyun-baek quickly ends the call. When they reach the bus, Kyung-min tries to open the door, but Yang stops her because he's worried the dogs will get in. The dogs are surrounding the bus, so the survivors try to scare them away with flames. However, one dog still manages to reach Sunok and bites her in the stomach. Byung-hak uses his torch to burn the dog, forcing it to retreat, but the dog bites her foot instead. As the torches begin to dim, so Joe Park drinks the alcohol he found earlier and spits it onto the fire, creating big flames that keep the dogs away. In the heat of the moment, Jung-won takes out the flare gun and almost shoots Yang, but instead he shoots the flare at the ground. The flash of light blinds everyone for a moment, and Yang lets go of Kyung-min, who then opens the bus door. The survivors quickly get on the bus, and Joe Park, angry at Yang for not helping, kicks him. Once inside, they try to start the bus but can't find the key, so they use Joe Park's master key to start it. Meanwhile, Hyun Bak cuts off all communication with the press and starts losing support for his presidential campaign. He gets a message from the minister saying he can decide whether to save the survivors or not. When the bus reaches the broken part of the bridge, Jung-won tries to contact the SWAT team but gets no answer. The group argues about what to do next since the dogs are outside. Kyung-min devises a plan. They hide in the luggage compartment with a camera. While they wait, Soon-ok sadly dies from her injuries. Eventually, the dogs get into the bus, and the group pulls a string to close the door, trapping the dogs inside. The survivors start to come out of hiding, but Byung-hak refuses to leave his dead wife. As Jung-won tries to convince him, the dogs find the hatch and try to open it. Byung-hak tells Jung-won to leave while he stays to keep the hatch closed. The dogs bite Byung-hak's arm, and Jung-won tries to pull him away, but Joe Park comes to drag Jung-won away. Then Byung-hak closes the luggage compartment just before the dogs come down to kill him. Jung-won wants to go back to save Byung-hak, but Joe Park stops him and says it's too late. Afterward, the group looks for the SWAT team but finds no one. When Yang finds out who Jung-won has been talking to, he laughs and explains that Hyun Bak started the Silence Project, which got him his current job. Angry, Jung-won calls Hyun Bak and yells at him for lying, saying the survivors will escape and demanding that medics and the press be ready for them, or else Hyun Bak will regret it. So the group decides to use Joe Park's truck to escape through the toxic gas, but the keys are still in the bus. Then Yang finds his laptop, and they come up with a plan to trap the dogs in a cage. Jung-won will be the bait. Before he goes into the cage, Kyung-min tells him she doesn't want to study abroad and gives him her mom's book. At the same time, Yura gets her golf stick ready and admits to Miran that she knew her passport had expired, but didn't say anything because she was scared of competing in the tournament. Then Yang plays a recording of Jung-won's voice reading the book. The dogs go crazy, and Yura starts hitting golf balls at the bus window until it gets weak enough for the dogs to break through. The dogs quickly reach the cage and start shaking it to get to Jung-won. Joe Park takes this opportunity to get his keys from the bus, but he finds out that E9 is still there. Seeing E9, Joe Park, very scared, and runs towards his truck where the others are waiting. But E9 runs after him and sees Dr. Yang a short distance away and attacks him. Yang quickly picks up a stun baton from the ground and starts shocking E9. Suddenly, E9 backs off because the ground starts shaking as another part of the bridge falls, making the cage and the dogs fall along with the other cars. E9 rushes to assist her pack, but the sliding cars drag them down into the sea. The last dog gets stuck under some debris, and E9 tries hard to help. The cage also slides down, but gets stuck on the bridge at the last moment. At that moment, Joe Park and the others show up with the truck, but Jung-won tells them to stay back because the truck is too heavy and will make things worse. While waiting for the situation to end, Jung-won reads a note his wife wrote for her family at the end of a book. Then he notices Kyung-min coming closer with a towing hook, so he opens the door to warn her to stay back because the dogs are nearby. But E9 doesn't attack Kyung-min because Kyung-min was kind to her. As the bridge keeps collapsing, another dog falls off, and E9 leap after it, causing her to fall too. The cage they are in slides down a bit more, and Jung-won holds on tightly. Just then, Kyung-min appears on top of the cage, attaches the hook, and then climbs inside the cage with Jung-won. After that, Joe Park and the others get into the truck and drive away, towing the cage behind them. As the bridge continues to collapse, the truck speeds up, and everyone covers their faces to protect themselves from the toxic gas. Joe Park carefully drives around many flames, making the cage bump into different debris along the way. As another part of the bridge starts to break, so Joe Park makes a brave move to avoid it, but accidentally disconnects the cage. Upon reaching the safe area, the survivors think Jung-won and Kyung-min are dead. However, the cage suddenly appears because its wheels are rolling due to the momentum it gained. After Jung-won and Kyung-min get into the truck with the others, Jung-won tells Joe Park that he will make sure Joe Park gets a medal because he deserves it. The truck keeps going and finally reaches the end of the bridge, where authorities and reporters are waiting for them. Hyun Bak greets them warmly, but Jung-won punches him. He then throws the money on the ground and tells the reporters everything. Jung-won and Yang show all their recordings as proof of the experiments. Then Jung-won says that Kyung-min doesn't need to go abroad anymore, and they smile happily. Afterward, on the shore, E9 comes out of the water with her last surviving clone. She looks at the bridge, and no one knows what she will do now.